Wine and Crime contains graphic and explicit content which may not be suitable for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. We can do this.
You are listening to Wine and Crime.
Fall asleep. I love her ASMR NPR voice, and I am exhausted.
ASNPR.
ASNPR.
Oh my gosh, she's making me yawn.
The podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
I don't get it. Who are you?
I'm Kenyon and I'm really sick. It's not COVID, but I'm drinking alcohol mixed with tea.
Nice.
I'm Lucy, and I'm also still sick, but I'm drinking wine and also a cup of Campbell's creamy tomato soup.
Together? You're drinking that?
Yeah,
Did you
just back
pour
and
the
forth.
wine into it? It's just like a
She's
weird
double
Bloody Mary.
fisting.
I'm double
soft log
fisting.
and tomato soup.
And a string cheese, if you must know.
I mustn't. Thank you, though.
Wow.
Haven't eaten dinner.
Neither have I, but I am still not doing that. Okay, I'm Amanda, and I'm still somehow the healthiest one of these three, which is shocking.
You're flying way too close to the sun.
I'm flying so fucking close to the sun, you guys. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
You did have a grandparent die.
I did have a grandparent die, but I actually was just going to say that, like, I am traveling to Boston for her funeral, and every family funeral in my life
Is a blast.
is A, more fun than it should be, B, an absolute party, C, usually someone gets too drunk, there's often a fight. I have a feeling I'll be ill by the end of next week, but maybe not with like COVID or a cold. I might just be
like
psychologically ill. Yeah.
An existential
Illness.
Yeah.
Is there going to be another Olive Garden dinner?
No, because Grammaire was not an Olive Garden OG, an OG.
Yeah. That was the other one.
One of her favorite restaurants was this like adorable Chinese food restaurant in Westboro. I could see us maybe going there. That's where she had her birthday party, which was like literally just a week before she died. But
They'll be like, you're back again.
we're back, but
Most of us.
-1. Weirdest thing, we brought her here
Table
to eat for her birthday.
14.
And within a week, she died.
Yikes.
So we're going to need a
wanna
comped meal.
back? Yeah.
Ask for a decedent discount.
Yeah, here's the certificate. But one of my aunts is also hosting like the whole family to just go to her house, at least after like the visitation. So she's got a hot tub. It's going to get weird in there. There will be crying and also telling really insane stories. So
What's the worst thing you've ever done?
pretty
I
much.
can't wait. I cannot wait for your
I
grandmother's
love
funeral.
videos.
I am certain you will be getting videos from me. I will also very likely FaceTime the entire little group chat. So just,
If I didn't
Be
have
around.
a baby, I would 1,000% crash this funeral.
I know you would. You crashed my dad's and it was awesome. We had so much fun at my dad's funeral.
I know.
Lucy, you fucked up.
He put the fun in a funeral.
Yeah, you like really fucked up. It was a
really
party. Yeah. You and Zach just fit right in that Olive Garden dinner. And then when we were encouraging my cousin to steal the decorative Magnum bottle of wine, Zach was like all about it. He was like the biggest fucking nudger.
I forgot Zach was even there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Drove from Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were living in
right on
Jersey
up.
at the time. Drove up to State College, Pennsylvania.
It was a great time.
Yep, it was great. So yeah, I am looking forward to coming back not well.
Well, speaking of coming back not well,
Exactly.
that's a perfect segue into this week's topic, right?
Yeah. Well, this is our very first revisitation.
Resuscitation.
Yeah.
We decided, so our second episode, we were still feeling out the
That Campbell's
process.
soup. Yeah.
That is foul.
I don't know why it's grossing
Lucy,
me out so
it's-
much.
Oh, you need to. She is listeners.
I'm drinking
She-
soup.
She's drinking soup out of like a plastic can.
That's how
I
it's
get-
sold. It's
Yeah,
a it's
you
a heat
microwave
sip and
them
go. It's a
in
sip and
order
soup.
to drink them, but
That
they freak me the fuck out.
is
I don't know what it is
wrong.
about needing a spoon for soup. Otherwise,
Adds
that's just
an
a hot
extra
Bloody
step.
Mary
Yeah,
without
exactly.
any booze in it.
It's not even that hot. It's kind of like a gazpacho.
That's way worse.
Mm. Mm-mm.
Well, I'm gonna.
I'm blocking your
But
video.
I am literally putting my notes over
Yeah,
Lucy's panel, so
I
I
can't.
don't have to see it.
Great, because
Okay.
I'm not gonna stop.
On that note of psychopathy, we are revisiting our second episode, which is Arson.
Mm-hmm. Our adult son, Arson.
It's the only one that we attempted our
Switch up.
switch up, our
switch up.
rotation.
Yeah, I did the background in psych, and Lucy did a case. We thought we were going to rotate
Each week, yeah.
each week, and it wasn't right. And we went back to the original format of episode 1, and we've been there ever since. So we
Yep.
thought we had to redo it,
Yep.
2023.
Yep.
And we have Arson. We didn't start the fire,
Oh, yeah.
and it's a
I'm
gal's
excited.
pick.
Yes. My case is wild.
My case is also wild and tragic and sad.
Great.
So let's get to the wine crime pairing. Amanda, what have we got?
Today, I am drinking the
Tomato soup.
Not fucking tomato soup. The Expression Chateau Beaubois White Blend
Wow.
from the Rhone Valley of southern France. And this is a great bottle because it seems really fancy, but it retails for like $17. Hello. Hello.
It does
So
seem fancy.
this region, the Rhone Valley region of France, was literally formed by a glacier, and like glacial lakes and streams from the Alps continue to nourish the soil in this region, which, coupled with the absolutely fucking perfect growing temperatures and like the seaside breezes of this area, make this an ideal place to make wine.
Why
so
are you so
I say
aggressive
this
right now?
I am obsessed.
I scooted back. Did you see it? I
am
backed away.
obsessed. I'm starting.
Absolute fucking perfect.
I just cannot get over a Rhone Valley wine.
Okay.
I
Is it
love
near
them.
the sea?
Well, no, but like
Yeah.
I mean,
There's wind.
France isn't huge. It's like trying to grow wine there. They actually can have weather and like winds affected by the ocean, whereas growing wine in Minnesota, in a very landlocked place,
Yeah.
does not offer that kind of
Terroir.
terroir
We do
or
have the
viticultural
glacial
support.
lakes.
Yeah, we
do.
have the glaciers. We make really shitty wine though, so
Yeah.
just skip it. So this is just my way of aggressively telling you that if you are ever in a bind, needing to figure out like a great wine to grab for a party, or you just really want to try something new that you haven't tried before, but you're like nervous, you don't want it to be crap, just look for a fucking Rhone Valley wine. Look for a Rhone Valley blend. You're gonna
be
be
good.
happy. It's gonna be so good. And you will seem so knowledgeable.
Or in New
Yeah.
Zealand.
Yep. New Zealand. Also, I mean, there are so many beautiful regions. I mean, like, I'm obsessed with the Willamette Valley region, and that's here in the States. Like, it's great, but there's just something special about the Rhone. So this bottle has a lot of fun varietals in it, and while the name Expression doesn't link to arson perfectly, even though you could say that arson is an expression of violence.
We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Sexuality, even.
Sexuality, frustration,
Vengeance.
vengeance,
Insurance fraud,
destruction.
greed.
Yeah, it's an expression. But I wanted to revisit a varietal that we did pair with arson, and if anyone remembers, that was the like Fuego Grenache red, and that wine was really fucking good. Grenache is a favorite. This has a predominant Grenache in it, so I was very excited to like go back
To our roots.
to some of my roots. Yep. So this is a white, obviously. So the Grenache is not going to lend the same like jamminess that it would in a red varietal, but it does bring some of that famous black pepper into the palate. So this wine is 40% Rousson, 40% Grenache, 10% Viognier, and 10% Vermentino, which is typically an Italian grape, but it grows really well in the Rhone region and is great in blends. And this has a nice floral and like lemony nose, and then a very acidic and refreshing, like crisp mouthfeel. And then it's going to finish with a little citrus and white pepper, just a little touch of salt at the end.
I could see how like the Rhone Valley itself could kind of bring up some of that terroir from Italy up into the valley.
Absolutely. They're not exactly far away from each other. They're very similar viticultural regions.
Right.
Love.
So it makes perfect sense. She's 13% ABV, so she won't kill you, and she's a popper. So I would recommend
and
grabbing
just a
your.
beautiful color.
It's gorgeous. She's like
Look
this
at that.
beautiful honeysuckle, like butter yellow. The label is stun. I love it. It's very cute. It's very bridal. It feels very bridal. I could drink this on my wedding day.
Oh, are you planning?
Oh my God, I'm always planning. Always planning wedding stuff. And it's great. It actually is, but there's a lot to do. Including drink. Okay, sorry. I hooked my wine key accidentally onto my mic, and that's why I screamed.
I thought that
ready?
was the pop. I was like,
No.
premature
Are we ready
and
to-
disappointing. Yes.
Premature and disappointing. The Amanda
college.
Jacobson story. Oh. College. Okay.
Brings me back.
Here we go.
Oh,
That was a
Fucking-
great and citrusy pop, I think.
flamin' pop.
Nice.
I'm giving her a sniff. This is going to be amazing. What is everyone else drinking?
I am drinking maple bourbon with maple syrup. Accidentally poured way too much maple syrup. Not
No such
upset
thing.
about
Continue.
it.
Yep.
And English breakfast tea.
Yum.
I
got
just
a
made,
Joel
made up my
got-
own thing.
Joel
Lucy-
got Sauv Blanc.
Great. And your soup. Good. We're
Our
all-
gal Joel.
And my
our
string
gal,
cheese.
our best gal, Joel.
All right, well, cheers.
Cheers. I really went for the pour on this bad boy.
Yeah.
I wasn't
That's a
Yikes,
holiday
honey.
pour.
I wasn't super paying attention.
That is a
as I was-
6-finger pour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 to 7.
You know what? You're
Amanda
kinda
has
right.
tiny
I'm
fingers.
100% right. Whatever. 2023, babies.
Fuck it.
Cheers.
All right.
I just spilled it everywhere. It's really good though.
Okay, Lucy, what is
Down
our
to 4
background
fingers.
and hopefully psych for Arson? Now
There's
that
psych,
Lucy
honey.
gets to do the background and psych.
No psych.
there is psych, honey.
Okay, I was
said.
like, how on earth? Okay, I was shocked.
So I will admit I did not go back and listen to the old Arson episode.
Why would
because
you? It was 100 years ago.
It is personally painful for me to listen to those early episodes.
Same. They're like unlistenable. Our sound quality was so shitty.
Hope,
Y'all are
hope
so-
you all like it, but
Y'all are so
I
amazing
can't.
for actually becoming fans within the first like 4 episodes because they were not.
People were very tolerant.
Yeah, y'all were good to us.
Well, that was 2017. I feel like everyone's sound quality was kind of poor, but either way, regardless, I did not go back and listen. So I'm going to
Not
try
Joe
to get
Rogan.
no. I'm going to try to
Great
get
sound quality.
information that Kenyon did not cover for the background and psych portion for today. I did look at your notes though.
Nice.
I don't think I recovered. Anyway, who the fuck cares? Here we go. From Encyclopedia Britannica, my lover. Arson is a crime commonly defined by statute as the willful or malicious damage or destruction of property by means of fire or explosion.
Oh, okay.
In English common law, arson referred to the burning of another person's dwellings under circumstances that endangered human life. But most modern statutes have expanded this definition so that arson now includes the wrongful burning of any public or private property. In nearly all countries, an arsonist may be prosecuted for murder if someone dies as a result of the act, even if they don't intend to kill in the first place.
Yep.
Just because it's so obvious that a
That
death
was the
could
result.
occur and
Right.
they planned the arson. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I took a brief left left field that we cut. People always ask what kind of stuff we cut. My insane ramblings that make no sense are one of those things. So back to where we're at.
Processing.
I'm super not disoriented right now. Okay. Okay, even if the intention to kill is absent, you can be prosecuted for that because someone did get injured or killed or whatever.
And there was an intent to set the fire.
Exactly.
So that's where the intent is.
Well, I feel like it's the same thing as like if you drive drunk and you kill somebody, like you didn't mean to kill anyone, but you did drive drunk, so it's your fault.
There are degrees of arson, and I will get to that briefly or shortly. So some jurisdictions, for example, Germany and some states in the U.S., also impose a higher penalty for arson committed for the purpose of concealing or destroying evidence of a different crime.
That makes sense and is very common and often doesn't fucking work. So stop doing it. It's just stupid.
First of all, you're not going to burn a body. You're just not. We've gone over this so many times.
But you can destroy a lot of, epithelial DNA and other kinds of
sperm's gonna burn up real quick.
Yeah, random DNA at a crime scene, you can really fuck up a crime scene.
Yes, but also that said, if you use accelerants and if you purposely set a fire, they can really easily identify that too.
Yes, exactly. So it's a double-edged sword. You're gonna
you're really only reducing the evidence. You're not eliminating it at all.
Well, you're creating evidence, very clear, obvious evidence of a different crime with equal penalty.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's just not. But burning something is not the best way to get rid of.
Like we know a lot about arson. Like we don't, but humanity has figured out a lot about arson.
Okay, so I will say I watched 7 movies yesterday. Yesterday being New Year's Day.
That's the move.
I was cleaning and just playing Best Fiends and watching movies all fucking day. Snacking. I ate Doritos yesterday.
Yum.
I know.
We usually do Lifetime Movie Day, the day after the first day of the year. And I was not present for Lifetime Movie Day yesterday, but sitting around and watching movies all day on New Year's Day is it's the best. It's the move.
The best. So one of the movies I watched was a Netflix movie. It's called I Came By, and it's about a graffiti artist, basically. And I'm not going to give a whole lot away, but basically there is a murderer, and he uses the guise of a ceramics studio with a kiln to dispose of lots of different kinds of evidence.
Oh, so that's creepy. I don't like that.
He burns it down to ash and then dumps it down the toilet. And I was like, if I was a serial killer, that's the level of destruction of evidence that I would have to go to.
Yeah. Wait, is it British? Is it a British guy? Is it the guy from... Yeah, I've seen that.
It's from Downton Abbey.
Yeah,
the guy from Downton Abbey. It's kind of a good movie.
Lord Grantham.
Yeah, sure.
You too. I never watched Downton Abbey.
I haven't either, but I Googled the cast because the mother of one of the victims was so familiar, and she's the wife from No Country for Old Men.
Oh, okay.
Llewellyn's wife. Anyway, okay. So as I said earlier, there are different degrees of arson when it comes to criminal justice.
We've got tiers, people.
There are tiers. There's not 10. There's only 3. Well, like 3 to 5.
3-ish.
3-ish, yeah. So these are based on the severity of the damage, motive, whether anyone was injured or died, whether there was some insurance claim, like an additional stacking of charges of situation.
Wrongs.
Sure. Wrongs, yeah.
Yeah. So the first degree...
Stacking of the wrongs.
The stacking of the wrongs. The first degree is when the building is burned with the knowledge that someone is in the building or at home. So that's first degree arson. So you can assume that there was an intent to harm another person
inside.
Second degree arson is when an empty building or other structure without persons has been immolated. I love that
kids
word.
fucking around and lighting an abandoned
letting
barn
us
on
say
fire.
Public school library on fire.
Ooh.
Like we know someone who did that as a teenager.
Yeah. got suspended and then went to juvie.
None of us. I mean, like someone we kind of
Someone we went to high school with.
tangentially knew. Yeah.
I think he did that in what, middle school?
No,
we were in high school.
Okay.
We were in 9th grade, and he
okay.
was a senior, I think.
It barely burned.
Then I think there's a second one from our graduating class, but it wasn't on school property.
We're going to take this off the air because I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And I need names.
Yeah. Names, addresses. So the third degree of arson occurs when an area or property has been destroyed by fire with no one else present. So this could be like a lot, a field, a parking garage, somewhere
An
that's
abandoned
not like
car.
somewhere it's not like there's possibly or likely a person inside.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So aggravated crimes of arson transpire when the perpetrator has full knowledge and intends to start the fires when someone is in the building. So that brings us to these different types of arson. So I just covered aggravated arson when there's willful intent to harm another person. However, intent may also be included when there is financial or emotional or other distress, like other reasons for setting this fire. While aggravated arson is considered first degree in some states, it is separate in others with increased sentencing. So many of these situations involve insurance fraud, the intent to harm, but maybe not like kill someone else, or just to scare someone.
Yeah, smoke them out.
Or just
But
like,
it goes wrong.
You were away at church and your house burned down while you were away. Oh,
Accidents
weird.
happen every day.
Yeah.
Better buy this insurance from
Yeah. If
this
only,
mob guy.
yeah, exactly. If only you had been taken care of.
Remember that drunk dive that I did about that like town bully?
who
Like the whole town
wouldn't die. They all had like a parade to drag him through the street.
No, he was like
terrorized the
he
whole town.
terrorized the whole town, and they could never like pin anything on him so that he would go to prison, but everyone knew that it was him, and it was a small town, and he ended up getting shot.
I was gonna say, didn't they shoot him like 3 times, but he like always lived?
No, that's a different guy.
I'm mixing up people.
He was shot and he was killed, but
And
like
nobody saw a thing.
But everybody hated him so much that nobody saw a
They'll just kept
thing.
their mouths shut. That's amazing.
The
I remember
entire
this now.
town. But one of his, I guess, alleged crimes was burning down somebody's house while they weren't home just for intimidation.
Wow, that's fucked up. That is fucked up.
I'm pretty sure that was one of my drunk dives. It
Yeah,
might
I
have-
remember that.
This is ringing a bell for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are different types of arson depending on the state. We're talking about within the U.S. now. One of these is reckless arson, which occurs when someone is attempting to destroy property, but the fire becomes wild or is damaging enough to lead to excessive or extensive damage. It's possible.
Fire can get out of control so fast.
Yeah, like if you're like illegally burning trash in your backyard and like,
It's
that's
just
like a
dry enough.
misdemeanor.
We'll
but then
get to it.
spreads.
We'll get
Yeah.
to it. I will fucking get to it. Or gender reveals. Just fucking don't. Don't involve explosives or fires or anything like that.
Yeah.
There are better ways to pop a balloon with confetti inside.
If you must.
Bake a cake.
Yeah.
Like,
Open an envelope quietly and then tell your friends and family that
Yeah.
what genitals your baby
Send
has.
a text.
yeah, text
Get-
people.
No one gives a fuck. No one
Literally,
gives a single
Nobody cares.
fuck about the genitals of your fucking baby.
It's
Love you.
kind of gross. It is possible for reckless arson to happen through either accidental incidents or by flouting the rules of an area, such as when there are signs explaining that fires are prohibited, and then you fucking light a campfire anyway and it gets out of control.
Looking at you, California.
That's an example of reckless arson, or could be classified as reckless arson. So here are some statistics for you from psychiatrictimes.com. Between 2010 and 2014, these numbers are wild, y'all. An estimated 261,330 intentional fires were reported to the U.S. municipal fire departments every year.
What?
That's so
In
many.
that
That's not
5
even,
year
that
span.
was like wild to be cumulative for 4 years, but that's each year in that 4-year period?
Yep.
Wow.
Fuck?
This resulted in a total of 440 deaths and 1,310 injuries. And the economic cost of fire setting was estimated to be as high as $3.28 billion per year.
Well, okay, this actually makes some sense to me because, like, the gender reveals, for instance, these types of activities are classified under these tiers of arson when they do start a fire. And we get, like, crazy wildfires from dumb shit like that all the time. So, I don't know. I mean, that's a huge number.
It's an enormous number.
Yeah, that's insane.
What the fuck are we... I mean, so many things start fires, so I'm wondering, like, what's under that category? Like, I remember talking about...
intentional fires reported to U.S. municipal fire departments.
Okay.
So that's not only
so like Johnny Cash's car backfiring and sparking in the woods and setting, like, a bunch of...
Anytime an intentional fire was reported to any fire department, that's what is contributed to this number.
Okay.
Still a crazy number.
Yeah. In the U.S., 1 in 100 adults self-reported in a lifetime history of deliberate fire setting.
That's
so
crazy.
Self-reporting 1 in 100 adults, which it's higher than that.
But I deliberately set fires in my fire pit all the time.
No,
that's not what
doesn't count.
Fire setting.
Like having like a fire in a controlled environment that's designed for fire is different.
Mm-hmm.
Find me an adult that hasn't started a fire.
Right.
But they're talking about like setting things on fire.
Yeah.
No, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it now.
38
I'm just like trying to justify how that number is that high. It's really crazy.
Yeah. 38% of these fire settings persisted beyond the age of 15 years old.
Yeah, kids do go through that pyro phase.
Well,
yeah.
kids go through a fuck around and find out phase.
They really do, with everything.
For example, in my house, when we were doing all of the renovations upstairs, we found some like smoke damage in some of the beams in our bedroom and had to replace them. And then, long story short, we got into contact with a family that lived in this house in the 50s and 60s. And one of the adult men, the adult sons was like, oh yeah, I got a matchbook out of that built-in hutch and brought it upstairs and lit one of my brother's shirts on fire.
Oops.
And that's what that smoke damage was. We're
okay.
Oh,
I mean, I left like a
no one
snake
died?
heating lamp on a neighbor's carpet when I was a kid, and I was snake sitting for them, and it could have burned their house down, but it just melted.
I went to your snake sitter house. They had those Bengal cats too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I almost burned their whole fucking house down.
though.
That was an accident. I felt so awful. I was such an idiot. It was melted carpet, and I went back the next day with like carpet cleaner, thinking I could just clean up the melted burn spot in the middle of this kid's room.
Your
We
brain
were
was
in
not fully
9th
formed.
grade. I'm pretty sure I was there with you, probably
You probably
egging
were,
you on.
while I was
remember
freaking the fuck
was it
out.
not a ball python?
It was.
It was a ball python, and they had two of these wild Bengal cats.
Which is the only reason I invited you to come over and hang out while I was pet sitting for this family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
Never hire an adolescent to house or pet sit.
Oh, no.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
It's
You're not
not worth
saving
it.
money when you have to replace your fucking carpet.
We're either going to ruin your shit or have sex in your primary bedroom.
Yep.
Or
Yeah,
both.
or both.
Yeah. It's never worth it. I don't care how responsible that kid seems.
No.
Yeah, no, don't do it.
Because that
Don't fucking
kid
do it.
has dumbass friends.
Yep.
But also, as that kid, I have excellent memories of those times.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love it.
So what could lead a person to commit arson? Clearly, it would be for financial gain or to hurt or scare another person, but it could also be because of a psychological disorder called pyromania. And I know that Kenyon covered this in her original segment because I did look at the notes, but it is important to re-clarify. Pyromania is an impulse control disorder that gives people an intense urge to start fires. This may be for pleasure, to relieve tension, or for sexual gratification.
Weird. Okay, I like it.
Clinical pyromania is rare and is often a symptom of another mental health condition. I'll get to the comorbidities in a minute. People with this disorder may show an intense fascination with fires and objects associated with fires, such as lighters or matches. Anyone can develop pyromania, although it affects more males than females. It can also
Everything does.
It can also start to show signs and usually does start to present itself during childhood and adolescence. So here are some symptoms of pyromania. Intentional, deliberate fire setting that happens more than once. Tension or arousal before setting the fire. So like getting
Like there's like
excited
a build
about
up
it.
and then you like have to do it.
And you like get hard.
Yeah, gross. An interest in fire or fire paraphernalia. Again, lighters, matches, whatever. Pleasure, gratification, or release of tension after setting a fire or witnessing a fire or its aftermath. So maybe they could even go to like a smoldering fire pit and still feel that
And stare into it.
Still
tension.
come in their pants.
We're
Still
not
get
just
hard.
talking about coming.
But
We
we're
are
not
now.
not talking
Yeah,
about
we're-
it either.
No, but it could also be
me and Kenyon
there
are only talking about
a
it.
lot
Pleasure,
of different-
gratification, or release of tension is like
That's
a
cum.
really euphemistic way of saying
That is
coming in
the-
your pants.
There are a lot of
Textbook
different
definition
types
of coming.
arousal. It's not all sexual. I just want to make that clear. Okay. Setting. Oh my God, it hurts my ears. Setting fires for psychological reasons and not as a protest nor an attempt to conceal evidence out of vengeance because of a hallucination or delusion, which I thought was important.
Not for coming.
That is not an aspect of pyromania. It's not about hallucinations or delusions, nor is it about monetary gain. It's just about excitement
Arousal.
and arousal.
So Ralph Wiggum of The Simpsons is not a pyromaniac because of the rock where the leprechaun tells him to burn things. That would be a hallucination. He'd be acting out a hallucination.
Yeah.
It's not his innate desire or impulse.
Well, he, as a real three-dimensional character who exists
Correct.
in reality.
Correct. Is not a pyromaniac.
Got it. I'm that tracks.
And in contrast, here are some potential reasons for arson. So again, arson, pyromania, two different things. Arsons may be motivated by peer pressure, for insurance money, or to harm a person or institution. Or just like
Or to get my eye
regular,
to stop twitching.
just like mayhem.
Light
I don't
myself
know.
on fire.
Or just to, you could be hired to do a job where it's like the person actually setting the fire isn't deriving any pleasure from it, but like,
They've been hired to harm someone and this is the method or whatever.
So like I said, comorbidity is common among adults who set fires. Adults. Common diagnoses include personality disorder, psychosis, substance dependence, and mood disorders. Reported prevalence rates of pyromania are relatively low, ranging between 0 to 10% of adults who set fires.
okay.
So at most, 10% of fire setters are actual pyromaniacs, according to these statistics.
Got it.
Okay.
Lower cognitive functioning, intellectual disabilities, and other developmental disorders such as autism are also common, although exact prevalence varies widely depending upon the population that is sampled. For example, if they're inpatient, community, or prison samples. Whether the motivations of the fire starting are because of an impulse control disorder, such as pyromania, or out of a more logical reason, arson, murder, hiding evidence, general shenanigans, etc. I do have some stats on fire starting from Psychology Today.
There it is.
I also just want to say that like sometimes it can be hard to tell what the motivation was, especially
Absolutely,
like
yeah.
after the fact. Like I know Israel Keys set a lot of fires ostensibly to like hide evidence, but also like
To
he
throw people off.
Yeah.
he also like expressed a lot of feelings about the arsons that he committed after the fact. So I feel like maybe it wasn't just to hide evidence,
Sure.
That it was just like an expression of
And-
post-homicide emotion.
Yeah.
An expression.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There we
Nailing
go. There we
It
go.
all connects.
Uh-huh. So research shows that fire setters are significantly more likely to have been registered with psychiatric services previously compared with other criminal offenders, and that they are 4 times more likely compared with community controls. So in terms of fire setters, regardless of motivation, there's usually some
picking up on.
Exactly. It's a little red flags.
Something's off.
Between 10 and 50% of patients who are admitted to medium security forensic mental health services have a record of deliberate fire setting.
Dang.
So it's actually
That's common.
It's common, and it's very closely related to other comorbidities.
Mm-hmm.
Fire setting in adolescence and early adulthood predicts schizophrenia later in life. Fire setting behavior is associated with animal cruelty in juveniles, the other statistically significant risk factors being that they are of a male gender and the victim of sexual abuse. Again, this is just statistically, obviously. This isn't...
It's not going to be every single person.
No, but statistically. Arsonists differ from typical violent offenders in being more socially isolated and lacking coping skills. And the prevalence of suicide is significantly higher than control groups.
I wonder if there's a big difference in like setting fires alone versus setting fires in like a group of adolescents fucking around.
From what I've read, it's typically a solo activity.
Right.
Okay.
Which would be maybe more of a red flag versus like just a bunch of teenagers being idiots together and peer pressuring each other, you know?
Sure.
I mean, pyromania for sure would suggest a solo activity. Arson, maybe not exactly if it's just like a general shenanigan situation, but the majority of arson isn't that.
Right. I know that there was some couple that we've covered and now I'm forgetting, but it was a man and a woman who set fires together for
In like the Hobby Lobbies.
for like sexual pleasure. I forget what.
In a Hobby Lobby? Ew.
I don't
Wasn't
remember.
there,
Sexual
wasn't there
pleasure
like
in
a
a Hobby
hobby
Lobby.
store? They like
I don't know.
set batting on fire.
I can't
don't
remember.
That was probably in our older arson episode. Go back and
Might have
listen to it.
been.
Yeah.
Might have been. Paraffin dipped tent, everybody.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So females are reported to commit nearly 1/3 of deliberately set fires, but less is known about the psychopathological and criminal characteristics of female fire setters. Female fire setters in a recent study were more often diagnosed with depression, substance abuse, and personality disorder than male arsonists. Something I wanted to bring up, which I couldn't really find a lot of information about necessarily, there's something called the Fire Interest Rating Scale, which is sometimes used by psychologists with people with intellectual disabilities to gauge their predilection for fire starting.
Interesting.
And I have a list of like kind of their questionnaire.
Ooh, okay.
So there's 15.
Do we get to take a quiz?
Look at Amanda light up.
light up?
I love a quiz. Oh, pun intended. I want to take a quiz.
The fire's back in her eyes.
Yeah, sure. Let's call it a quiz. Let's put up one finger for every time you agree with one
Put
of
a
these
finger down
statements.
challenge. TikTok. Okay, let's go.
Put a finger up.
Well, there's 15, so put a finger up for everyone.
Great.
Okay. Number 1, fire is very important to me. Number 2, I would be happy if I never saw a fire again. Number 3, fire is a big part of my life. I need fire in my life. I would describe myself as someone who starts fires. I am nobody without fire, as in nobody notices me without fire.
Oh. Oh, no.
I must have fire in my life.
I mean, I really like the Netflix video of
You have
the fire.
3 fireplaces.
None of
Put
them
your
work.
Doesn't matter. Put your finger up. Doesn't matter.
None of them work.
Oh, good. I have more.
Okay.
I'm only on 8. Most people carry a lighter with them. People often set fires when they are angry. I would like to work as a firefighter. I like watching fires get bigger.
I mean, sort of. Within reason.
I've put a fire out. They should teach you how to stop fires at school. Most people's friends have started a fire or two.
Like,
we're not friends with the people from our high school that started fires, so I'm not putting up my finger on that.
And last one, the police talk to lots of people about starting fires.
Well, I have 6 of these.
Kenyon has 3.
I have like 2.5, basically. I'm not hot on fires.
I have definitely started a fire, but it's usually like leaving the pizza in and passing out drunk and then having to put it out.
That's an accident. That's not the same thing.
I don't
but
think
I'm counting it.
I've never started a fire with the intention of destroying something.
Right. But the question was, have you ever put out a fire? And so I said yes.
I think these questions are like leading questions, which are intended to get people to talk more about it.
Rant
Well,
about
I
how
got
much
6
they
points.
love fires.
I win.
You win.
6 points. I win.
All right.
Again, I don't know a whole lot more about that scale, but I did want to just raise those questions. And lastly, I will note, as Amanda mentioned earlier, or maybe Kenyon, I think it was Amanda, I don't know. Someone mentioned it earlier, that the influences that climate change have had on the likelihood of fires getting out of control are much different than they may have been in the past. So lighting a fucking bush on fire in September in California has a much bigger potential consequence than it may have had 30 years ago. And we have all seen the destruction that fires have had over the past decades. Fires have always been a danger, but are becoming increasingly more so. So identifying and treating these fire-setting compulsions is more important than ever. And also, PSA, just don't. Just don't.
Don't
not
burn
worth
your
it.
trash. Also,
Dying in a fire would be so fucking scary and painful and horrific. No, thank you.
Yeah. Also, just seeing like an entire hillside right behind your house in flames.
It's fucked up.
And it's going to be more prevalent as time goes on. And
Because we keep getting worse because humans are
there
trash.
are things that you can do about it, and just be aware. Just be aware. Just be aware.
All right, are we ready for my case?
No.
So it's real sad.
Good. Okay. Great. Love it. I'm ready.
Shocking.
Also, there's a lot of information to it. We cannot get to it all. It kind of deserves its own mini-series. It turns out after I started the research, it was like, oh shit, there's like a lot more to this. So we're going to get through what we can get through.
Yeah. We won't ask
our
any follow-up
format.
questions. Great. Love it.
Okay. In 1935, a Luna Park amusement park opened on the northern shore of Sydney Harbour in Australia.
My.
Oh no.
Oh no.
It was modeled after Coney Island's earlier Luna Park, which had opened in 1903, and this Luna Park in Australia was owned by 3 brothers who had already opened 2 other Luna Parks in Australia. So it was a bit of a chain,
Okay.
of amusement parks.
6 Flags.
Kind of. Did you know that one of the fucking Six Flags?
Yes.
We covered this.
No, did you just watch Vengeance recently too? Because that was one of my movies I watched yesterday.
I don't
Can
know
we back
what I
up
watched.
and finish what the Did You Know was so I can be in on this, please?
One of
Did
the
you know that? Yes. Oh my God. Did you? Yup.
I
I'm right
learned this
there.
yesterday. I don't even know if it's true. I'm
It's
gonna
true.
Google it. No,
One
really?
of the Six Flags of Six Flags. So it's named after the Six Flags of Texas, one of which was
The Confederate flag?
yes.
No.
It's fucking true.
Well, whatever. Amusement parks are fucking disgusting anyway, so like fuck them. But
Yeah.
God damn it. Really?
Yeah.
It's the Six Flags of the nations that owned Texas.
Yeah.
So it's like Spain,
It's historically
Mexico,
accurate.
U.S., Texas. something else, and then the Confederacy. So one
I
of
hate
the
it.
6 flags is the Confederate flag.
Okay.
Cool.
Anyway, neither here nor there. This is not about Six Flags. This is about Luna Park in
Okay.
Australia.
Yeah.
Okay, but at the time of the Sydney Harbour Luna Park opening, the other Australian Luna Parks were in dire financial straits. So in fact, the brothers had actually placed one of these parks into voluntary liquidation, disassembled all of the rides, and then had them transported to the new Sydney Harbour location. So they're basically shutting down a different one and packing it up and opening it in this new spot.
That sounds expensive. I don't like it.
And the new spot looks like a fabulous location to me. It's like stone's throw from the Sydney Opera House, I think.
Jeez. Oh, my gosh.
I don't know. Never been. I don't know.
Oh.
There's a map, obviously.
There's always a map.
I have to have a map. I like to orient myself
I
in
get
my
it.
cases.
Oh, my God. I shouldn't have gone to look for the map.
No, I shouldn't have looked at your phone.
There are a lot of photos.
Oh, no.
Oh, nerd.
Oh, no.
This is going to get gnarly.
This is an immediate no from me.
Nerd for me, Dirk.
That's a no from me, Dirk.
Okay. One of these rides was called the Ghost Train.
Nope. Nope. Oh, it wasn't. Show over. Bye.
Riders would sit in a 2-person tram car and be plunged into darkness as they entered the structure, which featured a train track with many abrupt twists and turns, cobwebs hanging from the ceiling, and scary figures leaping out at riders from the darkness.
With my back, with my neck.
With my bowels.
I can't do abrupt turns on a fucking roller coaster. No.
It's not for us. We're in our mid-30s.
Yeah, this is not for us.
Kenyon, did you go to that theme park in China? I went to a fucking amusement park in China, and you know
Doesn't sound like me.
You know at Valley Fair they have that Mad Mouse ride?
Yeah, it's like a little roller coaster. Yeah.
It's like really tight turns and really tall. It was like that, but like rusty and made of wood.
Not OSHA compliant.
I really thought I was going to die.
You might have. You probably came very close that day.
Maybe I did die and now I'm a ghost.
I went on something in China. I think it was at Zhangjiajie with not toboggan, but like the slide.
Oh, the slide. Yeah. You you sit on a burlap sack and you slide down and you just use your feet to stop you.
Yeah, it's like an alpine slide.
That was kind of fun.
Yeah, I did that.
This
I
wasn't
screamed
that.
the entire time. Okay.
This was my safety was completely out of my control.
Well, we will get to it. Okay.
Oh, God.
So, the Sydney Harbour Luna Park was an immediate success and remained so throughout World War II, the post-war years, and into the 1960s. Although many new rides were added in those decades, the Ghost Train remained a key attraction.
It sounds awful.
You would absolutely ride this thing.
I probably would, but I don't think I would love it.
Okay.
If it has drops, no. If it's literally just like a child's train going through like a spooky place, yeah, I'm down. But the twists, the turns, I'm not a rides person at fucking all.
It's the main thing to know about it is that it is a very twisty, dark tunnel.
Great.
Okay. It's basically the inside of a duck's vagina.
Oh, God. Like that picture I sent you of me as a baby.
Yeah. Okay. So in 1969, the park changed ownership. Under this new management, winter closures were abandoned. So since 1935, winter had been a time during which the park added new features and, more importantly, completed maintenance work on existing rides. But now the park would remain open year-round, and all that would have to happen just like in the off hours, like at night or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the winter months were still slower in terms of attendance, and usually staffing levels decreased during these off-peak times. So it's still open, but it's
quiet.
In 1975, Luna Park's lease expired. The new owners attempted to renew it, but negotiations with the government ground to a halt. There were competing proposals to develop the land into high-rises or luxury shopping complexes, and it seemed no decision could be reached. However, the park was allowed to continue operating on a month-to-month lease kind of while they hashed it out.
Okay.
And this lease business will become relevant later. Then, in winter 1979, tragedy struck. On June 9th, remember, it's the Southern Hemisphere, so that's winter.
Ooh.
Around 10:15 p.m., Luna Park employees who were operating the ghost train noticed some smoke coming out of one of the entrances.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
No, trapped on a ghost train that's on fire? Bye-bye. Fucking bye.
It's like that Nick Cage, the flaming ghost rider.
Oh, my God.
That noise was the flames behind my skull.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you nailed it. That was good.
I'm Nick Cage.
However,
I'm the cage of the world. Okay.
these employees were just filling in temporarily for the ones who normally operated the ride because this was such like an off-peak time.
Oh, it's not the A team. It's like the D team.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And so they did not
It's
immediately
winter.
realize that something was amiss. They thought that the smoke may have been a normal part of the ghost ride attraction.
No, honey.
They thought it was like fake smoke.
That's
Baby
not
girl, it's not.
fair. I
And
think
you've
that's
been working
fair.
there long. No, if they have this
Well, they
ride
weren't-
goes all day, every day.
Not really. It's in the middle of winter.
They're not the A team. They weren't trained properly and they're understaffed and there's all kinds of shit. There's fake cobwebs, there's fake lights, there's fake whatever in this
True.
ride.
All right.
And it's
They've
like
definitely not
up
been
to
trained
code
properly.
anymore.
Yeah.
No.
But very quickly, it became clear that this was not the case as thick black smoke began billowing out of the ride.
Oh, no. And there
Black
are people
smoke's
on it,
not
I'm
good.
assuming.
Yeah, it's
there
going.
are people in there. Oh, my God. Ugh, no. No.
The employees began frantically trying to pull riders out of their cars as they exited the interior of the ride. So, like, they did step up and try to, like, get people out, but it's a twisty, turny tunnel. So they're getting people out as the train is moving, as the cars are coming out.
Nope. New fear unlocked. Nope. Nope.
Every
Nope.
episode.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't me this time.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
We take turns.
Yeah, that's great.
We rotate. We're back to rotating.
You're such good friends. I love this.
Okay. I warned you it was really, really sad. And it's
yeah.
really, really sad.
Okay.
So believing they'd succeeded in getting everyone off the ride, they stopped rescue attempts once a string of fully empty cars started coming out. So they thought, okay, we've got everybody out. Due to a combination of issues, however, including understaffing in the park and fire hoses that did not reach all of the rides. So like the fire hoses are located in like, kind of like a main area.
Oh, my
But
God.
like the hoses literally aren't long enough to get to this part of the ghost train.
That is horrific.
That is an
Yeah.
oversight.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
It took a full hour to get the blaze under control, by which point the ride had been entirely consumed. And there are a lot of photos that will be on the blog of the damage that this fire wrought on this.
So is the giant face the entrance to the entire park?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And I don't know why. It's just really creepy for creepy's sake. I'm not sure.
So the reason I brought up the Chinese amusement park is because that was also the entrance to the amusement park. You walked
Giant
through this
face.
huge
You
mouth.
go through the mouth. Oh,
And it
that-
had sharp teeth.
Nope.
Yeah. So maybe it's a Luna Park knockoff. I don't know. I mean, it's an old, it's an old amusement park.
It's disgusting.
Fucking woof.
Okay.
Look at the eyelashes. Sorry.
can't.
The face is just...
The face is egregious.
So they get the fire put out, the smoke stops, whatever. At this point, the tragic truth became clear. Although 35 people had been riding the ghost train, only 28 had escaped with their lives.
Oh, God.
Inside the charred remains of the ride were the bodies of 6 children and 1 adult.
Oh,
No.
And they're only 2 at a time. So that's like
Several cars.
several cars.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And it's an amusement park. So, like, of course, there are going to be more children. Like, it's so sad. So the victims were 13-year-old friends Jonathan Billings, Richard Carroll, Michael Johnson, and Seamus Riley. They all died on the ghost train. And then another of their close friends was a 12-year-old boy named Jason Holman. He had been on the ride but survived. The 5 boys were at the park alone that night after begging their parents for months to let them go without supervision.
Oh, God.
Mm-mm.
And like,
those parents must be devastated. I mean, under any circumstances,
Yeah.
parents would be devastated. But if it's like your kid wears you down to go do this thing, and then your worst nightmare, your worst fucking fear comes true.
And like, they're 12 and 13 years old.
They
like,
should be allowed to go to a theme park. Of course. It's not the parents' fault.
No.
At all. I'm just saying they must feel so fucked up over that.
Yep.
This is another reason why I'm too afraid to have kids. I won't do it. It's just too much can happen.
Yep.
And I can't. It freaks me the fuck out.
Because each car on the ride only fit 2 people, Jason, the survivor, had ended up in a car by himself, like at the end.
Jason's a child?
Jason is the 12-year-old who survived.
Oh, God.
And all his friends died. Jason would later recall being yanked from the car by a panicked employee who had realized the ride was on fire just seconds after the 2 cars carrying his friends had entered the tunnel.
Oh, he was behind his friends.
So he was like the last one, so he got saved.
No.
This kid, I bet this kid had so much survivor's guilt. Oh, this is so fucked up.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Yeah, it's really, really, really fucking sad. The other victims of the fire were 29-year-old John Godson and his 2 sons, Damien and Craig, who were 6 and 4.
No!
And-
Damien!
Okay, prepare to be even more fucked up. John's wife, Jennifer Godson, was also at the park that night. They went as a family, like the mom and dad and their 2 little boys. But she had gotten a sudden craving for ice cream and decided to skip the ride and meet up with John and the kids after.
No.
Yeah, just like a totally normal amusement park. That would be me. Zach would take the kids on the ride and
Having
I would go
a
get
poop
ice cream.
attack, I'll meet you after.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's the most normal thing in the world.
God.
And her entire family died.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my God.
I know.
I'm gonna fucking cry. This is absurd.
Yeah, it's really bad.
This is completely insane.
And
The
you're going to
universe
be really,
is
really
awful.
pissed
Yeah.
in a
Oh
moment.
my God.
Jesus.
God.
So police investigating the fire speculated that the 7 victims had likely climbed out of their cars after realizing that the ride was on fire, but became disoriented trying to make their way out on foot.
Because it's so zigzaggy
And a tunnel and dark.
and
there's-
smoke.
And smoke. And there's going to be more on this in a minute. So they likely
no.
died of smoke inhalation in the tunnel before the flames actually reached them.
Oh
So
my
they got off the
God.
train and were just in an engulfed
Smoked tunnel.
maze, a black, no light, smoke-filled maze,
Was the
Correct.
train
trying
still
to survive.
Was the train still going?
Yes, but they
Like-
weren't in the cars anymore.
But they
jumped
would
out trying
have
to escape the
survived
fire.
if they had just stayed
that
in the car.
that
We don't know.
That we can't know, but
Oh.
that's why the car started showing up empty, and the employees thought, okay,
'Cause
we've
people
got everybody
got
out.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Nope. Wow. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
So Luna Park was immediately closed, and a federal investigation was launched into the fire's causes. Ultimately, however, this investigation could not determine a conclusive cause of the fire.
Oh God.
it did rule out the ghost train's wiring and various, spectacular features as sources of the fire. So it wasn't a wiring thing. It wasn't like an electrical fire.
Okay.
And it wasn't like a firework or something that caught, whatever. The investigation also concluded that the management at Luna Park had failed to develop an adequate fire suppression program despite recommendations that had been made following a fire safety inspection 18 months earlier.
18 months.
Oh my
Who owns
fucking
this shit?
God.
Are you going to get to who the fuck is responsible for this?
We'll get to theories.
I need names.
Yep. Following that fire safety inspection, the fire department had specifically pointed out the risks posed by the ghost train's wooden tunnel, which had neither emergency lighting nor exit signs nor a sprinkler system.
They're just going down a cave.
Just going down a wooden cave, black wooden cave.
Fire-prone cave.
You guys, the 60s and 70s were the fucking Wild West. No one gave a fuck about safety until like the 90s, basically.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Until we were toddlers.
It's amazing anyone is alive.
What are we going to say 40 years from now, too? Because kids still die at amusement parks all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're like eating lead and microplastics. So like, we're gonna find our oh my God, how are we alive moment.
We should do a whole case on lead, a whole episode.
Listen,
yeah.
No,
but
it's too much. But you can listen to the United States of Lead podcast.
Yes, you
which
can.
Is hosted by our amazing production manager, Andrea. And there's a lot of fucked up shit in there.
There's so much.
If you want to go down a lead rabbit hole, enjoy.
So back to this inspection. So during a follow-up inspection, so they do the primary inspection, they say you need all these things. You need a sprinkler system, you need emergency lighting, you need exit signs, whatever. And then they do the follow-up inspection, and the fire department saw that their recommended changes had not been implemented. And so they gave Luna Park 12 months to comply with their recommendations.
It's too loose. It's like, we'll give you a year. I get it. Because they need time to do it and they need to pay to do it. But like, I don't know. I feel like it should be a lot more strict. I think it is now.
Yeah.
But fuck.
Well, then they didn't have
a year.
It was all paperwork and stuff though. Still, all,
Tragically, the fire occurred just 1 month after this follow-up inspection warning.
Oh my God.
So, yeah. A fire inspector who had examined the ghost train during the 1977 visit said of the ride's interior, quote, "It was a maze. It was timber, all painted black.
Painted.
As a matter of fact, even with the light on, I was bumping into the partitions and the wall. It was a timber ceiling. I would have gotten lost even with the lights on. The only way I could keep going was to follow the railway track." Which you couldn't do if the train is running.
Who's cleaning this shit?
I don't think
there's just so many. There's just a lot. There's a lot to unpack here.
The federal investigation ruled that although Luna Park's owners and management had, quote, failed in their duty of care towards patrons, that failure did not meet the, quote, high degree of negligence necessary to support a charge of criminal negligence. And that's because they were within that time period.
That year. Yeah, to make the changes.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
God damn it.
But there's more.
Oh, there always is with you. There always is.
With you.
And another thing.
Ticket.
Body World's ticket.
I'm gonna if I get you for Secret Santa next year, I'm gonna get you just a Body World's ticket.
Just a ticket.
You can go
framed
alone.
Ticket. Oh, okay. To actually use.
No one's
I was
gonna
thinking
go
as a decorative decor piece.
No, just you. You gotta go.
You gotta
go. And I don't even have to fuck you on my toilet to do it. Sold. Sold.
If Bill wants a ticket, he has to fuck you on your toilet.
Yeah, if Bill wants to go. Hear that? Yeah, I like this.
Okay.
I'll fuck you for it.
Oh,
We have to
stop.
fight over one ticket.
Enough.
Okay, bring back the soup.
Oh,
I got it, baby.
that is worse. That is worse than fornication
It's
on a
colder
toilet.
now.
Okay. So, to this day, the cause of the ghost train fire has not been definitively established.
Fucking great.
In 1987,
Yeah.
Thanks.
a government inquiry by the National Crime Authority reopened the investigation. This investigation did not determine a cause, but did conclude that the initial police investigation had been grossly inadequate.
Aren't they all?
In 1995, Luna Park, which had been closed since the fire, reopened under a new name.
No, let's rebrand.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot wait for the new name. Is it like En Fuego Park or something
Oh my
fucking
God.
ridiculous and
What?
disrespectful like that?
I don't remember what the new name was.
And
well, then
Fuego
It's,
Park.
it's boring.
So bad.
A memorial was dedicated to the 7 victims of the fire, featuring a tree planted next to an antique bench decorated with the names of the victims. So, like,
That's what I want to see when
they
I go
made,
to
like,
a theme
an-
park.
Well,
A memorial to people who died there.
we will get to it
A lot of
because
people.
God.
There was kind of a lot of people.
people didn't want to see the memorial tree and bench. However, when the park underwent redevelopment in 2003, the tree was uprooted and the bench was conveniently lost.
Come on.
To a random fire.
That's disrespectful.
It is disrespectful. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be there. I'm saying that fucking amusement park should go under entirely. Like that should have been the nail in that in amusement park's coffin, where people are showing up and they have to walk by a tree and bench memorial to like 7 people who fucking died there. Bye.
I think
I'm turning in my ticket.
I think putting it up and then losing it and uprooting the tree is worse than having it up in
It
the
is.
first place.
It's
really
way
fucking
worse.
disrespectful, and
Destroying
it's about
it,
to get
it's
more
fucked up.
disrespectful.
Cool.
The park's director at the time, Warwick Doughty, which, like, how is that a real human's name?
that is a villain's name.
Yeah, look at
Very
his,
Australian.
look at his photo on the drive.
Is he the guy with the mustache?
He
He looks like the mouth entrance
Oh.
of the amusement
He has
park.
very white hair, a shock of white hair.
I really just put a mustache on this man in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
There's
'Cause
no
he's
one
a-
in here with a mustache.
'cause
But he's
he-
a villain.
Is a board game villain, Warwick Doughty.
His glasses are awful.
He
As someone who
owns-
had those glasses, they are awful.
He owns Atlantic and Baltic and
Yeah.
just past go.
Yeah, he sucks. So he stated insensitively in an interview that he did not believe the memorial had, quote, relevance.
Wow.
Because he's like, it was a different park.
Holy shit. What a fucking asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It was only after campaigning from the victims' families that a new memorial was installed, this time a plaque bearing the victims' names. One person present at this memorial's unveiling described themselves as, quote, unimpressed.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Since the ghost train fire, there has been speculation that the tragedy was no accident at all, but deliberate sabotage.
Oh, dear.
In May of 2007, this theory gained additional traction when a woman named Anne Buckingham claimed in an interview with the Sydney Morning Herald that her late uncle had been responsible for the fire. Her uncle was another improbably named man, Abe Saffron.
What are these names? Abe Saffron and like Warwick Buckingham or whatever the fuck his name is.
Doughty.
Doughty.
Or Daughtry? I don't know.
Chris Daughtry.
Saffron.
Abe
You are
Saffron.
a fictional character. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I hate to break it to you, but you're not real.
Yeah. So Abe Saffron was a notorious hotelier, nightclub owner, and property developer who was widely known to be a major figure in Australian organized crime.
There it is.
Oh.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. Although it was an open secret that he was heavily involved in a range of criminal activity, including running like most of the brothels
Brussels sprouts.
Running most of the Brussels sprouts in Sydney.
Yum.
Illegal alcohol sales, bribery, and extortion. The only crime
Brussels,
that Saffron...
brothels, and bourbon. Sorry.
The only crime that he was ever formally charged with was tax evasion,
Oh.
for which he served 17 months in prison.
Tax evasion.
He was just like a big old mobster.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was also
Big old, tig old bitties.
Big old mobster.
Mobsties.
but it was also widely believed that he was associated with at least 7 arson attacks, mostly for insurance payouts on properties he owned or like owned under like a false name or like a shell company.
Or killing children at an amusement park.
In the late 70s and early 80s. So he is on a tear of insurance arson.
Fuck you, Abe Saffron.
Mm-hmm. So his
God.
niece,
A sentence I
Your
never
next
thought I would say.
tattoo.
I
you,
my next pet is going to
Just
be
put
Abe
it around
Saffron.
your neck. Fuck you, Abe Saffron.
Fuck you, Abe Saffron.
Everyone's
Don't
like,
explain it
"What?"
to anyone. I will never explain it to anyone. But when I land in Australia, they'll welcome me with open arms.
Yeah. They'll throw flowers at your feet.
Yes, I will be welcomed like a queen.
You'll
Fuck
get
you,
just
But
Abe
not like
Saffron.
the queen.
No, because I don't like her. But
Historically,
rightfully so.
she
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
welcomed that much. Okay.
No,
you'll be
the queen
welcomed like
fucking
Princess
sucks, but
Di.
Yeah. No, like a queen, not the queen.
Yeah. All right. So the niece stated in an interview that she believed her uncle had hired people to burn the ghost train as part of a plan to gain control of the disputed Luna Park lease,
Oh, for God's sakes.
but that he had not intended for anyone to die in the fire, and that's why he chose like an off-peak time.
Okay.
Oh, well, congrats. You only killed, what,
7 people?
7 people, 5 or 6
and
children.
a bunch of kids.
And
Oh, great.
one woman's entire family.
Mhm.
Didn't mean to, though. Bam. 17 months for tax evasion.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
So I read different things. One was that he was trying to sabotage it so that the owners would have to break their lease and then he could get the lease and own the property and like take over. And the other was that he secretly owned it under a shell company and it was for insurance. So I don't know which is true. I've read both.
Okay.
So this rumor had been around during Saffron's lifetime, and he repeatedly denied any involvement. Saffron, known sometimes by the moniker Mr. Sin,
Okay.
died of natural causes in 2006. He had like a stanky leg infection at the age of 87.
As the daughter of somebody who did have a stanky leg infection, that sucks to suck, Abe Saffron. Not all the saffron in the world is going to get rid of that stank.
Oof.
And bully for you, my dad survived his stanky leg infection. He just died of a heart attack 20 years later. But whatever, it's fine. Idiot. Neither here nor there.
I mean, Henry VIII also died of a stanky leg infection, I think. Anyway.
Listen, if I don't die of stanky
That's how
leg,
narcissists die.
I didn't live my life right.
Narcissist and Mr. Jacobson.
No, he died of a heart attack. He's fine.
He did die of a heart attack. He didn't die of stanky leg.
Okay,
He
I
got
thought we were
stanky
still
leg,
on
but
the-
he survived.
He did. He pulled through the stanky leg.
Yeah. Okay. So then the niece
By
later
cutting it
denied
off.
that she like
T-shirt that just says "My dad survived stanky leg."
survived the stanky leg.
Survived the stanky leg.
Ghostface has a stanky leg. It's
And then
so
his
cute.
photo, just his sweet bald face.
I know.
He was so sweet.
He was so sweet.
Little bowling
My dad
ball head.
survived the stanky leg.
I like pulled through the stanky leg.
Pulled through.
It leaves more questions.
He fucking made it. I mean, he eventually died, but he fucking made it.
Okay.
For a few years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in March of 2021, ABC aired an investigative documentary series entitled Exposed: The Ghost Train Fire, which directly implicated Saffron in an arson plot to take control of the land Luna Park was on. One person interviewed for the series who had been at Luna Park on the night of the fire described several men he had seen in the park that day standing together wearing denim jackets
Don't trust him.
Quote, I heard one of them say, quote, I spread the kerosene out and I lit it with a match. And
That's damning.
And another one said, quote, you're a fool for doing it. And then they started running towards the exit. So obviously, like,
Conflicting thoughts.
this interview took place in 2021. The fire took place in 1979. You can't necessarily trust that memory.
No.
But take it, with a grain of salt. 2 former senior Sydney police officers state in the documentary that they believe Saffron ordered the crime and that his involvement was systematically covered up by corrupt police and government figures on the mobster's payroll.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And he, was infamous for having a
Cops in his
ton
pocket.
of people, in his pocket.
It's the mafia.
Yeah. This tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really valuable land.
Tracks.
Oh
no.
The same year the documentary was released, the Minister for Police and Emergency Services put out a $1 million reward for anyone who could provide information about the ghost train fire, because it's still technically an open case. As for now, however, it remains unsolved.
It doesn't seem like it would take that much to start that fire. Like, I'm not saying it wasn't done intentionally.
Yeah, the place was a fucking tinderbox as it is.
It was
but
a painted wooden maze where there's
Yeah.
air flowing in and out to spread fire.
It's-
Electricity at some point,
Cobwebs
Not up
are
to
fucking
code.
flammable as fuck. Like all that Halloween decor.
all the friction on the tracks.
The whole thing may as well have been built out of fucking dry Christmas trees.
You could
for all-
probably light a book of matches and the whole thing would have gone up.
Yes.
without accelerant.
It did not take much if
Yeah.
it
But it
was
did-
intentional.
I think it was intentional. Because how the fuck someone's smoking on the ghost train? I mean, it was the 70s.
Yeah.
But I feel like they can usually
Figure that out.
figure that out.
And they ruled out electrical fire.
So it's feeling a roll intentional to me.
Oh, I could go either way.
Kathy Dewar, who was working at a Luna Park food stand on the night of the fire, says in the documentary, quote, for me, there were actually 2 tragedies. First, there was the fire itself. The second tragedy for me was the failed investigation.
Yep.
Not having the truth come out. There was so much buried, so many facts distorted and hidden. I am definitely prepared at this point in my life to give a statement to the police, and I really resent the fact that I was not given the opportunity to do that at the time. Anyone who was at the park that evening should have been interviewed by the police, and whatever observations they had, whatever experiences they had, should have been documented and recorded.
Absolutely. She is 100% correct.
On the 36th anniversary of the fire, Jennifer Godson, the woman whose husband and 2 sons died in the
Bless
fire,
her fucking soul.
said in an interview that she and Jason Holman, the 12-year-old survivor where all of his friends died.
Oh,
those-
God, that was her child.
No.
No.
Oh,
It's
okay.
another kid, but
They're
he was
the
probably friends with her son,
Godson
maybe.
Holman. Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, basically, there are these 2 groups.
They were the 2 survivors.
Right. They were the 2 survivors, and then both of them, the rest of their whole group died. They didn't know each other previously, but they're the 2 survivors.
But now they're trauma bonded for life.
Yes. So she said in an interview that she and Jason Holman, both of them the sole survivors of their groups, have formed a lasting friendship. Quote, we're very close. It's like there's some kind of web that joins us together. We sort of had survivor's guilt. We're here and they're all not.
Oh my God.
I'm glad that they have each other and they've connected with each other, because there is no fucking way that I would be able to get through if I were this woman.
I can't even imagine being any of the survivors of the.
No.
I mean, I can't imagine being killed in this
And then
fire.
nobody is held to account.
Nobody.
None.
Your
No
whole family is
accountability.
fucking wiped out, and no one sees not even a day in court over it.
Mm-mm.
Fuck that. Poor
And they had
survivors.
to fight to get a plaque.
And that,
which was
then
lost.
Got quote unquote lost and the tree uprooted. I mean, they have just been shit on by this park over and over and over again.
Unbelievable. Is this place still open? Please tell me, God, no.
Yeah, there's still a park there.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Let's go and take upper deckers in every toilet.
Okay, it looks like a casino in Las Vegas. It's hideous.
Yeah, she's not cute.
So that is my case.
God, thanks, I guess.
Yeah. It's really sad.
Fuck.
Don't start
Love
insurance fires even if you think it's an off-peak time, because
Well,
you could kill children.
These little boys.
I know, the victims are so fucking cute. It's so sad.
they're just little babies.
They're just little babies that were like out for like a night on the town. It's so sad.
Ugh.
After months of begging.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a couple of them, yeah.
Okay.
Great.
We're
Love it.
moving
Well,
on.
thanks, Kenyon.
You're welcome. This
should
is the
we-
point of the show.
Are you ready for my case? Are you ready for
Yes.
ready for my case?
I'm primed and ready to go.
Oh God.
As she
Okay.
strings her cheese.
God, just please tell me that you're done with the soup.
I'm not done. It's not gone, but I can be
She's
done.
the slowest eater of all time. That was
That's
that
true.
was a dumb question.
I haven't
But
eaten
also-
dinner. This is my dinner. It's 8
I
o'clock.
get it. I get it. But also, I can't see you because I have to read my notes anyway. So it's fine. Sip away. Kenyon
Perfect
will
for
just have to
you.
deal with it. Yep. So y'all know I usually hate a mystery because my ADHD cannot handle open-ended shit. So like,
I
thank
love
you,
it.
Kenyon. Yeah, I know. You love it. But this one drew me in, and actually I do think I know what happened, so I feel like a little better about it, and we'll discuss.
Okay.
So let's travel to a little town called Nashville, Indiana.
Oh.
In the in the 1970s. Gotcha.
Oh no. I can
This is
the homophobia is like radiating.
I know. I
Oh,
can smell
yeah.
it. I can smell
this is a quiet white community.
it. You don't say.
And in the 70s where this tale kind of takes place, only about 700 people lived in the town, and everyone knew
Was racist.
everyone. Well, yeah. Comfortably living together in this racism colony called Nashville, Indiana.
Okay.
So nothing ever happened here. This is like the kind of town that has like one bar, one grocery store, one gas station,
And a funeral home.
one funeral home, one paved road.
Yeah.
One stop sign.
Everybody has like a tab at every store.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone knew everybody's business, which is like equal parts my nightmare and the result of how I conduct myself on this podcast. So I've done it to myself. Anyway, Clarence and Geneva Roberts were the king and queen of Nashville, Indiana. Everyone knew them. They were very involved in the community. Clarence and Geneva had been married since 1941. She came from a poor family, but together they rose in the Nashville, Indiana society.
Wow.
They had four
Nashville.
sons. Nashville, Indiana. They had 4 sons and a successful family business, and they seemed to be the perfect couple. Everybody was like, whoa. Hello, Jackie and fucking JFK. Let's go. Clarence O. So Clarence owned and operated the not a hardware store, but the hardware store in town.
Yep.
With his brother Carson. Clarence was elected sheriff in 1950 by a landslide. And he had
A landslide
incredibly
of 15.
Eligible voters.
Yep. And he had an incredibly high status at the Masonic Lodge and a gold ring reserved only for those at this level to prove it. So apparently, 33rd degree Freemasons are like the top level that you can hit.
Can we do a Freemasons
I
crimes
literally have it
episode?
in my
Because
notes. I need a
I'm adding
Freemasons
it.
episode.
I'm adding it.
I don't know shit about them. I
Because-
think
yeah.
my grandfather might have been one, or maybe he was a Shriner. Like, what's the one with the silly hat?
That's a Shriner, but I don't know if that's related or not.
I just added
I
Freemasons
need more
crimes.
information.
Yeah, okay, good. I'm glad we're all wanting to go on this rabbit hole because, like, can you tell my meds had not kicked in yet when I wrote this? Because I was like, Shriner, silly hat, who is this? Can we do a Freemason?
But they're like all kind of
connected. It's
Also,
all the Illuminati. It's all weird, creepy, old, like, white man frats.
is Freemasons one word or two?
It's 2, I think.
Freemasons.
Anyway, all of this to say they were small town icons. So it came as a huge shock when on November 18th, 1970, firefighters responded to a blaze at the garage, which is like shaped like a barn, on the Roberts property. After hours and hours and lots of community support fighting the massive blaze, they were able to assess the rubble and found the charred remains of a body in the ash. The body had no arms or legs and had a shotgun laying across the chest. We'll get to it.
Fuck? Okay.
Yeah. The remains were confirmed to be those of Clarence Roberts. The scene was odd, though, to say the least, and authorities speculated that Clarence, or whoever this body was, had died by suicide. It was believed that it was Clarence at this time, possibly igniting the flames before turning the shotgun on himself.
Without his arms or legs?
Well, firefighters said the flames had been so hot that they could have burned his arms and legs clean off in the blaze. Now, to get ahead of Lucy's questions that I know are coming, we know that fire doesn't get rid of everything, and it often does not get rid of bone.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have all the details about the crime scene. So, I'm not sure if the arms and legs were, missing, completely gone, or if the soft tissue had burned away and maybe, some of the connective tissue at the joints, thus separating the arms and legs from the torso, and that they were maybe, charred and kind of
in little
separate
piles.
In the piles. I don't know.
In a starfish of ash.
I don't know. I don't know, but I think we will know.
I'm sorry.
We don't know, but
in a starfish of ash.
I'm visual.
Like a Jackson Pollock of ash. We're gonna know
5-pointed prism of ash.
like a pentagram of ash. We're gonna know once we get deeper into this that these arms and legs did not burn off. Okay. But at this point
We're
in the
speculating.
investigation, they didn't know this. The investigators were like, "Oh wow, burned his arms and legs clean off. That's Clarence Roberts right there. He shot himself in the face." So I don't know.
Cut off his arms.
Oh my God. Some forensic accounting, though, did show that the hardware store was in serious debt. And this certainly supported the theory that Clarence had taken his own life. So this is a quote from Unsolved Mysteries, which has an entire wiki fandom that goes deep into all of these cases, and I'm obsessed.
So I love Unsolved Mysteries.
Yup, and I will reference, or I'll let folks know at the end which episode this is so that you could potentially go watch it. So from Unsolved Mysteries, quote, to finance his extravagant lifestyle, he liked to buy shit. He had multiple cars and shit. Clarence sold his hardware business and gambled everything on 2 property investments, an apartment building and several grain elevators. All of these investments failed. He also submitted altered and or fictitious bills to an insurance company regarding the apartment complex that he purchased. By fall of 1970, I'm burping.
Me too. Woo!
Okay. By fall of 1970, he knew that he was in serious trouble. In October, so 1 month before the fire, Sheriff Warren Roberts, who happens to be Clarence's brother.
Oh, so Clarence was the sheriff for a while, and then his brother became sheriff.
Passed the baton to Warren.
Wow.
What a Nepo baby.
It's such a Nepo baby.
Is that what it's called? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
It's just a hot word now. I don't even,
It
a
is.
nepotism.
Yeah. Nepo babies are a Hollywood thing. If you watch fucking...
It's an everything thing.
I know.
Yeah,
if you watch Euphoria, then you like Nepo babies. Get over it.
God.
So, So Clarence's brother, who is now the sheriff, or the sheriff at this time, repossessed 2 of his fancy cars.
Oh, his brother had to repossess
His own brother had to do it. Not great.
That's
So
awkward.
Clarence and Geneva were left desolate and desperate.
Without cars.
Without cars. Well, they had probably one of their cars, but they had 5.
But they're fine.
They're poor, but they're fine. They're not gonna fucking die. They're poor white people in a community that will support them. So they didn't need. Let's just say
They
Clarence
went from being rich to
being not rich,
to faking being rich to now
actually not being rich. Yeah. So Clarence and Geneva, like I said, they're penniless at this point. Robert, or Bob, the brother, recalled that Clarence had become depressed and possibly suicidal around this time. Ashamed of his squandered fortune, a close friend of Clarence reported that he had seen the man crying and speaking of suicide as a means to, quote, make his wife the richest widow in Brown County.
Oh, God.
So Clarence had taken out a $1 million life insurance policy in 1970. So this is a lot of fucking money. It's a lot of fucking money now. Naming Geneva as the beneficiary. And he did this not long before the fire, like weeks, maybe a month or so. Like
Smart.
Sus.
That is the smartest thing you could do.
It's the most smartest.
Because it's not going to pay out if it's proved to be a suicide, am I right?
Exactly.
I mean,
well, it's not going to pay out if it's proved to be fraud, for sure.
Correct. It's the fraud that's more concerning because the suicide is more like a case by case and insurance company by insurance company situation.
Oh, okay, I
but
get it.
But if it turns out to be fraud,
Right, then, yeah.
then they're not going to fucking pay.
Or premeditated, for sure.
I'm a little slow. I
get it. No,
the dinkle has faded.
I get it.
Big time.
I get it. So, County Coroner Jack Bond reviewed all of the information gathered from the fire and the first report that had declared the remains to be those of Clarence Roberts. Jack doesn't think it is Clarence Roberts. So, he finds several egregious details in these reports. Though the death had been suspected of suicide, there was actually no reported head wound at all, which would be almost impossible to miss, even if fire had eaten away at all of the soft tissue of the skull, and even if a large portion of the skull had been charred.
Yeah.
A shotgun blast would be extremely hard to miss.
A shotgun's going to blow your whole gourd apart.
Pretty much. Also, the way Clarence had been identified in the fire was weak at best. His gold Masonic ring engraved with his name was found underneath the remains, but it was barely damaged. The remains were where allegedly the arms and legs had burned clear off from the intense heat of the fire. A heat intense enough to destroy bone would immediately destroy gold, which has a much lower melting point.
So someone tossed
And his arms and legs and hands are gone.
a body or a not even a body, burned it, and then was like, shit, it's got to be
Put
me.
the ring in there.
Throw the ring in there.
Put the ring in there, lay down the shotgun. It's a suicide. We're good.
Where does arms and legs go?
We don't know.
Maybe you never had 'em.
Maybe he never. Well, no, he didn't. We'll get to it. Then they went to dental
But
records.
his class
and the records,
ring was in perfect condition.
It's a Masonic ring.
Never
It's
had
not
to
a
have it
class
signed.
ring.
Whatever.
33rd
Class
level.
of the Mason ring.
Whatever. So then they went to look at the dental records, this coroner, and the records on Clarence Roberts did not match the remains found in the fire.
There were no teeth.
No, this guy's an idiot, left his teeth. Because of the suspect nature of the fire and the evidence collected, the insurance company refused to pay out the policy to Geneva, leaving her penniless and working as a dishwasher in a local restaurant.
Wow, he really did spend all their money.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had nothing.
Wow.
So, did Clarence want out of his debt without having to actually take his own life?
Probably.
Did he stage an entire scene to fake his own death?
Probably.
Collect on life insurance and live in secret with his wife?
Probably.
If so, where the fuck was he? If the town was so goddamn small, wouldn't someone notice him lurking around? Did he have the balls to cut off the arms and legs of the deceased in an attempt to remove points of identification? There's a lot of evidence to support this theory.
But why not? Why arms and legs and not just hands and feet?
I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Extra
We
precaution?
don't know. Probably. Maybe the
Less to
maybe the
carry?
cadaver had tattoos or something identifying.
Or the cadaver was like way taller than him.
Sure. Yeah. Pure speculation. I don't know, but any of those things could be why. But despite being denied and being like, bitch, it's fraud, Geneva worked for years appealing the decision not to pay out the policy, eventually going to trial 9 years after the fire. But she didn't have a fucking case because the evidence was too compelling to show this was a bullshit claim, even without knowing where Clarence was, whether he was dead or alive, or having enough evidence to criminally convict Geneva of being part of an insurance scam. Like, they didn't know what she did or didn't know. They were just like, no, bitch, you're not getting this fucking money. Go figure it out. And it went to trial. And at trial, the insurance company called forth an anthropologist who presented evidence of, quote, butchering marks on the charred bones.
So someone chopped. There was chopping, not just
Hack.
There was
burning.
chopping.
Hacking.
Indicating that they had been hacked apart. An arson expert also gave compelling testimony that the fire had been intentionally set And 3 witnesses claim to have seen Clarence since his quote-unquote death. Quote, insurance investigator William Mitchell received reports of Clarence living in New Mexico, Mexico, and West Germany.
All of them.
A man named Robert Hillenberg, a former Nashville, Indiana resident who moved to New Mexico, reported seeing Clarence in Las Palmas, Mexico in 1975, so 5 years after the fire. Other acquaintances reported seeing him in various locations in 1972, 74, and 75, but none of the sightings could be substantiated.
Imagine the gossip in the garage with the beers.
Oh, in
And
a
the
town
lawn
of 700
chairs.
people?
Talking about, well, I saw Clarence. Let me tell you about, I saw him in Las Palmas, Mexico.
This would literally be the best
Yeah.
small town situation fucking ever. The VFW must have been lit.
On fire.
Fucking
Literally on fire.
Literally on fire. So lit. The meat raffles must have been dope. So even
The
though
hush
Clarence...
when, what's her name, walks into a room.
Oh, when she goes to the grocery store, when Geneva walks through the grocery, she can't go anywhere anymore. Anywhere. She isn't. She was always an icon. Now she is infamous.
She's an icon of Nashville, Indiana.
Yeah, India. So even though Clarence couldn't be found right then and there, he was declared alive, and the remains that once were thought to be his were reburied in an unmarked grave, having been proven not to be his. But they are still unidentified to this day. However,
Did I miss this? How were they proven not to be his?
because dental records didn't match,
Oh, the dental.
ring
Okay.
was obviously planted because
Yeah,
it would
okay.
have melted the hack marks on the bones. It's just no fucking way that was him.
Okay.
So, however, on November 17th, 2 days before the blaze, Clarence was spotted in a bar in nearby Morgantown befriending a vagrant.
Oh no, they fully killed someone.
The man was described as about 5'7"
He would
to
have had
5'9".
to. It's a fresh body. He needs a fresh body. He's got to do it himself.
And this man was about, according to these reports, these witness reports, this man was about the same age as Clarence. Clarence told the man that he had some odd jobs at his house that he would pay him to do, and the man agreed to go with him. This was like overheard at the bar.
God.
As they were leaving, the man collapsed from some unknown cause,
Drugs.
possibly drinking, and
Or,
like
like,
he's a
being
vagrant and he
drugged.
hadn't eaten.
He was drugged.
Yeah, or he was drugged. Yep, could have been any of these.
Of course he was drugged.
Clarence might have drugged him.
Yeah.
He was drugged.
but like also why
Some
drug him?
sleeping pills to get him in this car.
Well, but he had already agreed to go with him to do the odd job, so why not offer him like water or a beer
Well, he doesn't want him to fight in
at
the car.
the house? I don't think he would fight. I think if you kept, I mean, I don't know.
Geneva
I don't
doesn't
know.
want that shit in her house.
At what point would he decide to kill him? He doesn't want to attack him. He doesn't want the violence. He wants him already passed out, already unresponsive.
Oh, for sure.
And
I
then
just feel like
cut
maybe
his shit off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it were me, if I were Clarence,
I would have drugged him personally.
well, sure, I also would have drugged him, but I wouldn't have drugged him at the bar. Because he's already
I
agreed
wouldn't
to
have
come with
killed
me
him.
to my house to do odd jobs.
Okay.
So I wouldn't need to drug him at the bar. What I would do is I'd get him started on some odd jobs, offer him a beverage, drug him, and then kill him. So that's like this timeline to me doesn't really add. This is not logical.
Well, not everyone's
Clarence.
as smart as you are.
Yeah, that's obvious.
But also
So-
easier to already have him in your vehicle.
Yeah, but then you got to lift a dead weight 5'9"
Look,
guy
it's
out of your
his
car
fir-
and drag
It's
him.
better than
Presumably
lifting him
his-
twice.
I'd rather only lift him once.
Exactly.
By not, yeah, so, don't
drug
drug him.
okay,
So
you
drug
got
him
it.
car.
before he gets in the
Moving
car.
on.
No,
I see
will
what
die
you're
on this
both
hill.
saying, but I need to go pump. So we need to get through
I
this.
need Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook
Drug
to
him before he gets in the
let us
car. So
know.
he's already in the car. You can dismember in the car. Then you drag it out.
But he didn't dismember him in the car. There's no evidence in the car that he dismembered him in the
Well,
car.
whatever. You're moving him one less place if
You
he's
want
We
him
don't
to
already
even know
drugged.
if he was drugged.
You want to be sure that
was
he
drugged.
doesn't get wise too early, so you preempt out of caution and you drug
Listen.
him in the bar, and he's already a drunk, so no one's going to be suspicious of you carrying him out.
It's stupid. I said what I said. I'm going to move on. Okay. So, blah, 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 blah. Clarence said that he would take the man to the hospital because he collapsed like in the doorway of the bar and everybody's like, holy shit. But investigators later checked all of the hospitals within a 300-mile radius and found that the man fitting this description had not been admitted to any of them on the night in question. Furthermore, an autopsy determined that the victim in the fire died of carbon monoxide before the start of the fire.
Oh.
The banker later repossessed Clarence's truck and discovered holes in the exhaust
So he
system,
did kill him in the
apparently
car.
made by a hammer of a similar instrument. One of his cars. I don't know which car he took him
So
from
he
the bar
only
from.
lifted him. Well, he did lift him twice, but
Yeah.
he drugged him. He
Sure.
got him in the car.
I'm taking killed him.
Your fucking purple mattress.
Killed him with the carbon monoxide in the car.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's dumb. It's not a smart move. You have to lift so much dead weight. That's
I'm just
fucking
saying
stupid.
that's what happened.
It probably is.
Yeah.
But it's fucking dumb. So, 1 month after
worked.
this, did it? Well, I mean, it worked in the sense that this innocent man is dead and burned. At least he wasn't burned
Sorry,
alive,
I'm
I guess.
rejoicing this.
No,
but, like,
I get it.
You're
That's a
rejoicing
win.
at being
Take the
right.
W.
And also that Clarence,
I get
this
so
fucking
few.
asshole murderer, didn't
And an idiot.
get his payout. Yeah.
Mm.
So 1 month after this trial ends, where the insurance company is like, nah, bitch, you're not getting this money, they declare this fire a fraud. Clarence has been deemed alive, albeit missing. And then on November 29th, 1980, so 10 years almost to the day.
Isn't 10
Another-
years the limit for like if you're missing to be declared dead?
Yes, but
Isn't
I
it
think
10 years?
because we didn't go to trial until not like
I think it
9
depends
years
on the
after.
Too.
And then he was declared alive like at that trial 9 years after.
Okay.
But it was just like a loose, yeah, he's probably alive, but actually we don't know because we haven't seen him. We don't know where he is. But this
There's
guy
just
is not
something
him.
about those days after Thanksgiving where he just
People
needs
freak
to
out.
set a fake fire.
Yeah. So another huge fire breaks out.
Mhm.
This time at Geneva's home that she had been renting since the quote unquote death of her husband. Once again, the small but mighty fire crew battled the flames for hours on end until it was finally safe to assess the wreckage. Inside the charred shell of the home, they found 2 bodies. These bodies were identified as Geneva Roberts and fucking Clarence Roberts.
They
Ooh.
did die in a fire, but together?
Eventually. Yep.
What?
Y'all.
On
it's nuts.
purpose or
Well,
karma?
We'll see.
Okay.
This is a good question. We know that the fire was intentionally set. This was arson. But the theories...
The vagrant came back. I know what you did last summer.
No, the vagrant's dead. Vagrant's dead. He's got no arms or legs. He's buried.
Okay.
So family members were asked to help identify Clarence's body, and they all reported that it was not Clarence. Nobody believed he had died in the 1970 fire, and nobody believed he had died in the 1980 fire.
But he killed Geneva?
Maybe. They believed the remains to be those of a man who had been living on and off with the, quote, widow, Mrs. Roberts, in the rented house for the last 6 years. Family members did not know his name, but neighbors had seen him and also claimed that he was not Clarence. So who the fuck was that guy?
Yeah, really.
Was it Clarence in disguise?
Yeah. Or was she seeing a guy on the side and Clarence got pissed?
I don't know.
If it's
Everyone
Clarence
thought
playing not Clarence.
it could be Clarence playing not Clarence.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. Clarence.
I know,
Everyone
but that's
thought-
just weird.
It's weird, but if he faked his death trying to get insurance money and didn't really have anywhere else to go and
And
just wanted
wanted
to
to
stay
live
with
with
his
his wife.
wife, I can see it. I can see the logic.
Especially
Either way.
if nobody else got to know the person living there.
Yup. Everybody thought this whole situation was super sus, including a reporter named Helen Ayers, who had been covering this story and had formed a friendship with Geneva. She always said she felt like Geneva was hiding something or someone, refusing to speak with her inside her home and always sitting with her on the back porch instead, which was like a point of interest because especially in this town where hospitality is so key,
Yeah, you invite people in.
being invited in is like a
But
foundation.
She couldn't invite someone in because then they
She
would
could not.
see that it was Clarence
or
or
Not
Someone.
Clarence.
So neighbors told Helen when interviewed that they had heard Geneva speaking with a man in the house from time to time, but that the man's voice was not Clarence's voice. Even Clarence's own sister, who lived next door, said the voice was not Clarence's.
Next door.
Next door. Ultimately, the second body in the home was identified as belonging to Clarence, but in Nashville, Indiana, the mystery remains.
So it's just there are two camps. There are people who say, yeah, it was Clarence. He was living there the whole time. And other people who say,
this is some rando. That's not Clarence. Where the fuck is Clarence?
wow.
So again,
weird.
from Unsolved Mystery, it's so fucking weird, you guys. From Unsolved Mysteries, quote, the second fire was a clear-cut case of arson. Detectives could clearly follow the burn patterns from Geneva's bed into the adjacent room where Clarence's body was located, and then down a hallway and out the back door of the house.
So it was a third. They're saying these two people were killed and it was a third party who did it?
And that's also a possibility. Or Clarence killed Geneva, poured all the shit, and then was like, well, there's no way I'm getting away with this.
And then doused himself.
Doused himself, went back in the house, and just went down with the ship. We don't fucking know. It's so wild. So, based on the evidence, they determined that Geneva had been murdered. They are certain that turpentine was used to ignite the fire. However, they don't know who started it. It could have been Clarence. It could have been a third party. So Detective Anderson, an investigator who is assigned to the case, believes that a third party might have been responsible. And questions still circle this case.
The third party might be the real Clarence.
It might be the real Clarence, or it might be the lover that Geneva had been with. Clarence shows back up.
Yeah.
The lover is like, fuck this. Y'all are going down.
This is
and lights him on,
so
kills Geneva.
Fucking twisted.
And lights him on fire. We don't know.
Oh, God, this is so twisted.
Isn't it weird?
Yes, it's weird.
So, there are so many questions around this case. And this case is considered closed. So, we're not going to fucking find out.
Okay.
But, who was the man in the first fire with the arms and legs chopped off? Who set the second fire? Why did they set the second fire? Who was the mysterious man at Geneva's house? And why did she hide his identity? If she was a widow, who fucking cares that she's seeing somebody else? That's why I think it was Clarence in disguise. And that's the key question. Where the fuck is Clarence? Is he in the grave of the 1980 victim? And some family members are doubtful of this. They protested when a headstone with his name was put in place. And the answers to these questions, we may never know.
Wait, your theory is that Clarence is still alive and he orchestrated all of this?
No. My theory is that the second fire,
he started it.
The body found in
it
the
was a
second fire
murder-suicide.
was
Murder
Clarence.
suicide.
I think it was either a murder. Yeah. I actually mostly think it was a murder-suicide because I think Clarence never left. I think he was disguising his voice.
Or he left for a short period and came back.
Exactly. I think he was disguising his voice. I think he was in disguise. And that the whole point of this was for him to fake his own death. They collect $1 million.
And then it didn't work out.
But where the fuck is he going to go?
At what point did his sister think that it was not his voice in the house? Was that after the second fire?
No. She was interviewed over the course of the time that everybody's still gossiping and trying to figure out what the fuck was going on with the first fire.
Okay.
By that reporter, Helen.
Got it.
And neighbors and neighbors and the sister had told Helen, oh yeah, of course you weren't invited into the house. There's some rando living in there. She's trying to keep him a secret. We don't know what the deal is, but we've heard him and we've seen him a couple times.
And it's not
He's
Clarence.
not Clarence.
Okay.
It's Clarence
but
in disguise.
It could have fucking been Clarence.
Might have been Clarence.
It was probably Clarence.
Wow.
So I don't know. But the prevailing theories are Clarence murdered Geneva and an unknown man before setting the house on fire, and then he fled. So there's a theory that he's alive.
And he got another body to fake himself.
Or not even just getting another body, but maybe that was the lover. I don't know. But there's someone took the coroner took an x-ray of his remains of Clarence at the second fire and was able to match shit from the x-rays to medical history of Clarence. That's why I really do think
it is him.
The second body is him. So if he lit it,
you think he should shoot himself?
I do.
Okay.
I do. If the first theory is the one we're going to go to, it doesn't make sense to me because then where the fuck is Clarence? And who is the second guy?
And there
Like, there's-
haven't been any sightings of him since the 1980 fire.
Not that I know
Because
of.
the first guy wasn't Clarence.
Mm-hmm. But the family, given that first fuck up, is still really doubtful that Clarence is buried in the ground as the 1980 victim.
Wow.
So I just don't think we're ever really gonna know. But I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I agree
Pretty
with
confident
you,
it's
too.
Clarence.
Mhm.
So,
But
blah,
they
blah, blah.
couldn't.
But
They couldn't look at the teeth.
I mean, I'm sure they did.
But it's 1980, so
Yeah. So another theory, Clarence and Geneva died by suicide together so that their children could cash in on their life insurance after almost a decade of struggling to cash out their policy. I don't know if they are selfless enough for this. I think it's less about making sure their kids get the money and more about there's no way we're going to get out of this.
Yeah.
And we
it's
hate
fucking
being poor.
done. Yep. And we hate being poor. And if I can't have Geneva, then nobody can. So I'm going to fucking kill her and then end it all.
Or she's pissed at him that he got them into this situation, and now she's like washing dishes every night, and he can't leave the apartment, and they're like
miserable.
Stuck together.
Yeah. Like, you're in hiding.
Yep. It's high
not.
stress. It's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last theory that the last couple theories that get kicked around, Clarence killed Geneva in a fit of jealousy because she was secretly seeing another man and then either killed himself or died accidentally in the fire, or Clarence and Geneva were killed by an unknown third party. These are like all the ones that are floating around.
It could, like you just said,
Maybe.
it could be something completely out of left field.
Could be.
Like,
Absolutely it could be.
that's kind of what I was thinking about the roller coaster, the Ghost Rider thing. It's like,
that could have been an accident.
it could have been a
could have been an
complete
accident.
fucking accident.
It could have been.
I don't think this was. This is two
This
big
was
ass
not
fires.
an accident.
No,
This was intentionally set.
It's definitely all intentional and very fucking confusing. And like Clarence kind of died twice. And like, where the fuck was Clarence for 10 years?
2 to
And,
3
like, there's-
times.
No, twice. There were 2 fires that had Clarence's quote unquote remains in them.
Okay.
So the whole thing is absurd. And if you want to watch
there's smoke, there's fire.
there's Clarence. Also, if you want to watch the Unsolved Mysteries episode of this case, it aired on December 14th, 1988, and it is season 1, episode 9. And that's my case.
Well done.
Isn't it weird?
Really
Wow.
fucking weird.
It's so weird.
There's a lot
love
of
an unsolved
fire,
case.
arson mysteries this episode.
So many mysteries. Oh, I think I already covered it for a live show, but I also was really loving, well, not loving, it's a horrible story, but that case of like the whole family in like some small town like Iowa or something where the house burned down.
The
but then they,
Sauter
like,
children.
Yes, so they like couldn't find the remains of a lot of the kids,
There were
and
like
nobody
8
knows where the fuck
kids
they are.
and 5 of them, like, they don't know where they are.
Weren't recovered.
We've
It's
covered
so
that
fucking
case,
weird.
and we covered the firefighter who turned out to be the pyromaniac.
I don't
Yep.
I think that was Iowa. I think that was like Australia.
It wasn't, or maybe New Zealand. I think it was New Zealand.
It wasn't Iowa.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Silent
But you know what I mean.
kids.
My boobs are leaking. I love you
Got-
both
great,
so
great.
much. We'll talk to you
I
next
love
week.
you too. Okay, bye-bye.
Love you. It was in West Virginia.
Okay, bye.
Oh, nailed it. Bye.